Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, ready.
Great. Let's go.
So Ziki, do you want to start us off with what you were saying earlier?
Yeah. So what I feel really interests me is that like we can answer the question about like how the Guggenheim Museum's practices are different from like the previously mentioned like the MoMA Art Museum. So like I feel like we can look at Kistler's approaches about like museum curatorial practices. So like in the readings we can tell that like Kistler he just brought up an idea of like free flow audiences motifs among the artworks, which means like the artworks are not just married on the wall or like just hang on a plain wall in a two-dimensional perspectives, but instead it is in a three-dimensional spatial perspectives, so people can just go through those go through in the gallery and go through those artworks and to feel what is in a three-dimensional perspectives in terms of the visitor's experience. And also like there was a renovated approaches of interaction and the interaction between the viewers and those artworks. That's a really renewal ideas back to that time, and which Guggenheim applied to their museum practices, which focus on the visitors' interactions with the artworks and with the objects, which integrate like the ceiling, the background, and the objects with each other to integrate those three parts into the curatorial practices. And that's also really revolutionary compared to like MoMA and other traditional museums.
I think that another important point, the difference between MoMA and Kiesler's exhibition style, it involves a context. In MoMA's, Bart tries to get rid of the context itself and just to focus on the piece itself and to connected with other artworks that have like a similar context, like but outside the context of the art itself. And in Kistler's perspective, he tries to involve all the context and makes it one of the most important aspects of the curatorial design.
Right. I agree. And I think to like expand that idea, it's not only like the context of the gallery, but also the context of like the social events of World War II. You see Guggenheim is seeing that, you know, women are excluded from most exhibitions because of this masculine emphasis during the time. So she says, I'm going to do an exhibition on just women to really elevate them. And then within the context of the Guggenheim, there's like more of a focus on the outside world, on World War II. You see how their art, although it's still abstracted, it's they're using abstraction as a way to respond to World War II, not just like this apolitical autonomous thing that was really emphasized at the MoMA.
He decided to locate items in a way that people could see from different aspects, not just as you said before, like just in a plain wall. No, so like playing with this theatrical background that he has. I think that it was one of the points that made it like more like a different experience for like in the reviews that the people gave about the exhibition. Even though more of them were very pessimistic, I think it was an interesting thing to look at how people viewed the works at that time, no, and how innovative it was, this exhibition design for the time it was in.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was two articles from the same book, and Bognery was first, and Sonzogny was second. And I think Bognery was just had nothing but good things to say about him. That he loved the way it involved the viewer. He loved how he created this overall environment. But then Sonzogny, the one who wrote the reaction of the press article, he does get to this idea that, like, well, although this was like really revolutionary for the time, it did a little bit detract from, he ends the piece by saying it did detract a little bit from the art on view. Do you guys agree with that? Or,
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
okay. So like important, but maybe a little too much.